BumbleKast Live. I'm tired. This is Kyle.
Hi, tired. I'm also tired.
Thank you so much for joining us here at the first earliest BumbleKast we've ever recorded.
I think so.
And for joining us here at the tail end of MAGFest. I know you guys are all heading home pretty soon, so thank you for spending your precious, precious time that could be going to the airport, listening to us talk at you. So, same as usual, head on up to the mic right here, ask your questions, we'll answer them, and we'll have a little bit of fun for the next hour.
All right, well, let's get a line up over around this side. So,
because the last time we kind of blocked the camera, I don't think they were happy about that.
hello.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning's the time I shine. I have a huge question. I've been thinking about it. And I'm sure you've been asked this a lot. What got you started into getting into the industry, writing professionally 24/7?
Panic. I was pursuing my English degree, and I started to get into education and realized that was not for me. And thought, okay, university is going to be wrapping up soon. What do I do with this English degree other than say, do you want fries with that? So I figured I'd like to write. I like Sonic. Why don't I just write for Sonic? How hard can that be? And I tried to break in all throughout university, 4 years. And it wasn't until my senior year that I got my lucky break. And I seized upon it, and I have been fortunate enough to be able to continue to do that primarily as my occupation for the past 20 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It is staggering.
I'm about to say.
Yeah.
Last question. May I present to you a fun little gift?
Oh my goodness, we have an offering.
Oh, no.
I had to wrap it or else it would break. But
Can we open it here?
yeah,
Okay.
I have my taco sticker.
Oh, no.
And I
Yes.
made
Yes. It's fantastic. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
these. Please enjoy.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I got the middle.
You got them? Okay. Yeah.
I hope you don't have it. I'm sure you have many, but I hope you don't have that one. Because that just came out.
Yo!
Holy crap. Oh, wow. Oh, that's awesome.
I didn't even have to do a single half-pipe mission.
Please enjoy. You made my day when
Thank-
I ran into you, and it meant so much to me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
You stand right here, little man.
Yes, you do. If you
You
can.
stand here. There we
stand
go.
the-
Marvelous.
That's a little hard to follow up.
No worries. This isn't a.
It's not a contest. We love you all equally.
Yes, this isn't a competition.
But especially.
Got another Skies of Arcadia question.
Yes!
From last time.
Never mind. I love you best.
Well, the one thing that is a little bit of an odd experience replaying that game is you notice that Drachma gets stuck in the background of a lot of shots just to kind of contribute nothing aside from being there. As a writer for you tend to write with larger casts. How do you avoid that kind of effect when just kind of some character just does not have anything to contribute?
It is hard to juggle when you have a large ensemble cast. So usually the best approach is to say who is needed for this particular scene and who makes the most sense. Especially in comics where you have a very limited amount of space to show everybody. It's a matter of it's understood who is in the scene necessarily. Just because these two characters are featured and talking, you assume the reader will understand there are other people in the room. They just don't have anything to say at the moment. With Drachma, though, specifically, I feel like that's kind of the build-up for him. Because he's this grumpy old man who didn't want to do anything with these kids anyway. And he's kind of roped into their grander adventure, so he's already kind of on the fringe of what's going on. But he does end up caring about them and wanting good for them, so he doesn't leave. So he's always on the edge, always on the fringe, just kind of in the background thinking, what am I doing here?
All right, thank you very much.
Dang it, I love these guys. Why am I here?
Okay, that's good. That's working. So are Sonic questions still kind of banned? Soft banned?
For this show, since MAGFest is Sonic themed, it'd be kind of stupid to say no Sonic stuff. So please.
All right. Well, that opens a little bit of questions, but first I'll ask the question not related to Sonic first. What would be like a recommended reading that you would say that's like your favorite thing that you worked on outside of Sonic?
The Michelangelo macro series one-shot I did.
Okay.
That, I would say, is perhaps the best thing I have ever written.
Michelangelo,
Yeah, what is the official title? It's Michelangelo Macro Series #1. It's in a number of collections out there.
Yeah,
Okay.
for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, yeah.
all right.
Right, need to specify that.
Yeah.
I don't mean the Renaissance artist.
yes. My favorite thing that he's written has been the Mega Man Run, full stop. The whole
Okay.
thing. 1 through 55. Read them all.
Okay, awesome.
There we go.
All right. And my Sonic-related question here, what would you say is like your personal favorite thing that you loved to write about Sonic?
I get to write Sonic. I mean, yeah, there's some stories that came together better than others. There's some that I maybe prefer over others, but at the end of the day, I grew up playing and loving Sonic, watching Sonic, reading Sonic, and now I am part of that grander tapestry. I have contributed to that legacy, and that alone is the best part.
All right, and my final question, what do you prefer writing for Sonic? Action-packed stories with like a big climax, or more down-to-earth slice-of-life stuff?
They both serve their purpose. You need those little down-to-earth moments so that there is something to compare to the big action pieces. The big action pieces mean something because you know there's those down-to-earth moments to get back to. There's something to protect. There's something to work towards.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much, big fan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So it turns out my mother was surprisingly ride or die for the Sega CD, specifically because it had full motion video. I was just kind of wondering, what are your thoughts on full motion video as it kind of relates to the Sega CD and as a whole?
You're a little more technical than I am, Kyle.
You know, it's really a technical showpiece at the time. It wasn't the first CD-based console add-on, but it really was the one that kind of like showed what you could do with digital video and stuff like that, and gameplay. It was very rudimentary for the time, very simplistic in a lot of ways, but it's also kind of where we got like modern gaming, certain things about modern gaming, like QuickTime events. QuickTime events were basically pioneered in FMV games. And now it's like an integral part of like almost every game out there. So I think that there's a lot of things that the Sega CD has contributed a lot more, I think, than people realize. So, yeah.
Thank you.
So my question is, when writing for like any long-running, like multi-decade franchise, like how do you avoid villain decay? For example, I remember villain decay was a common complaint leveled at Eggman in the late aughts, early 2010s, but you don't really hear about it anymore. And while things are definitely better, it's hard for me to put my finger on what exactly has changed that made it better.
I think part of it is just time. What was tiresome then is nostalgic now. And part of it, too, is different perspective as the audience grows older and new blood comes into that franchise. I think we've all kind of accepted now that this is what Eggman does. He shows up, he does something big, I hate that hedgehog, rinse, repeat. And you just have to vary up the degrees of world-ending horribleness to freshen it up a little bit. Like in Frontiers, he was kind of on the back burner for the most part, but he was still a prominent character. So it's just finding the way to vary it up so that it isn't the exact same beat-for-beat confrontation.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
One short question. What does the SWAT in SWATbot actually mean?
I think maybe it was actually intended to actually mean, SWAT.
Special weapons and tactics?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
that's probably it.
That's what I always thought, but I could never find an answer.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
So, quick question. One, are you having fun? Just doing
I
your
am.
job and going to cons and stuff.
I am. I do.
And then, second question, do you have any favorite convention stories?
Oh. Years and years ago, we were at Heroes Con, and my wedding was coming up, and my wife and I are non-denominational, and we were kind of stressing because we don't want to go to any particular house of worship and say, hi, we don't follow your religion necessarily. Can you marry us? That seems a little tactless. But the only other place was to go to the jail and get married by the judge, which wasn't particularly romantic.
Awkward.
A little bit. So there was this family who was a regular show up at these cons, and they were both ministers. And we were, telling them, this is our situation. They go, well, we'll do it. I said, well, we don't really follow. And they go, that's okay. Can we say a small prayer? Yes. Okay, we'll do it. And thus, we were married by Sonic fans.
And not only were you married by Sonic fans, these also were two Sonic fans getting married.
Yeah, there's no escape from the little blue hedgehog.
That little blue guy cannot be escaped. Oh, man.
All right. Do you have any favorite convention stories?
So the first time I was here in 2012, I remember seeing a show with a Disaster Piece and Roger. I can't remember his artist name off the top of my head, but he was a Disaster Piece is a chiptune artist, and then Roger was playing live drums along with him. Mm-hmm. And I remember at one point there was a small technical hiccup, and Roger lost one of his drumsticks.
Oh.
Just fell right off the stage, just gone. But Roger just kept freaking pounding away with just one stick, just going ham. He didn't need the second stick. It was amazing just to see that. And then
awesome.
he went on for like a minute that way before someone finally noticed and ran up there and grabbed it for him and gave it back to him. So, but that was one of the things that I'm like, holy crap, this is like, not only is this like, just an amazing place to be, but also like there's people here who really know like how to play and who are just like extremely talented. So yeah, that's my story.
All right, thank you.
And another one that just came to mind very quick, we were at San Diego Comic-Con, and we were leaving the show, and outside of the show is like one giant block party anyway. And we're going back to the hotel, and at the outdoor restaurant, there was at least 5 luchadors in business suits, all having a drink. And they caught us going, what? And they all look over in unison with their beer steins and go, oi! And it's like, I love this show.
That's perfect. Hello. I
Hi.
just want to say that because of some of your works, I'm back into Sonic after so long. Like back when I really loved Sonic, I was like 12. Now I'm 30. so that says a lot. I'm kind of glad that like the Sonic people all like embraced their fandom, and I felt like I don't know. There's a different change in the fandom and how the stories are told now, and yeah, what you said before. All right, so here's my question. I'm trying to remember my words. Okay, I was written down, but I think you mentioned some parts in your podcast before that writing for a game versus writing the comics in the past are different. And I guess for Sonic, usually it's like gameplay and all that first versus story. I'm just wondering, since you have like the Sega mandates and you're kind of you don't really have a lot of liberties with writing because you're kind of given what you have. How do you work around those limitations to deliver a great story to reflect the game, like Frontiers?
So in summation, how do you write creatively within the constraints of license regulations?
Yes.
There we go. Why am I so good at making things succinct when I babble nonstop? Anyway.
Me too.
To me, I kind of liken it to being a personal chef. Somebody says, we want this dish prepared with these ingredients done in this style or this way. And you work within that. Within Sonic, I don't necessarily look at it as restrictions, as those are just the parameters of the world. This is how this series works. If the biggest challenge is that it's completely different mediums. Comics are a static medium, so each individual panel is a moment in time, whereas in the games, when you have fully rendered cutscenes, you can do a whole lot more in a whole lot less time. And it's just deciding what to do within those particular mediums is the biggest challenge of the two.
Yeah, because like Frontiers was something I thought like Sonic as a whole wouldn't be able to pull off, like such as like an open world for a game that is known to be kind of linear and going one path. But like in the story too, like the different takes and all that, it made me fall in love with the series again. And of course, like Dream Team I really adore. And the Shadow Generations, of course, made me like speechless. Like, how did this game get 9 out of 10? I haven't seen this before, so I played it. Oh my god! I remember my 10-year-old self, like the reason why I love like Shadow from like Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Heroes. That was my first game I ever owned. Before I babble how much I love Omega because of my favorite character, I'll let the others
Yes, Omega.
But thank you so much.
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
All right. I got a lore question. I know your favorite. There's probably something silly that nobody really has thought of or cared about except me. But when Mimic the Octopus was introduced, we got to see him do, in his first story arc, a lot of his fun shape-shifting abilities, including turning into some characters who appear to be a little larger than him, like Smithy, Vector, Eggman. And it's always made me wonder, how exactly does his shape-shifting work? Is he actually like stretching and morphing, and is there a limit to how big or small he can make himself? Or is it just kind of like an illusion or making himself just appear that way, but he's not actually changing super?
No, see, that is a very legitimate question, and that is something that we had to decide early on, because if I wrote it one way and somebody wrote it completely different later, it becomes a question of, well, why didn't he do that the first time? So, no, perfectly good question. And it is a physical ability, and what we saw when he was struggling and getting into those larger characters is kind of the upper limit of what he can do. As for how exactly he does it, that's a little more cartoony, wibbly-wobbly physics. By the same token of how is Sonic able to run at Mach speeds and not strip the skin off his face? How is Knuckles able to glide with those little spines on the back? That's not aerodynamically sound, but it makes sense because they're cartoon animals. And so how is Mimic turning into a crocodile? Game mechanics.
He's Mimic. Stop asking.
I know he's based on an actual Mimic Octopus, which is why
Yeah, exactly.
I think they're cool.
Oh, they're fantastic.
Yeah, well, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
How many Antoines does it take to replace a light bulb?
What a foolish question. All it is taking is one. Well, first you must be finding the light bulb. Where is the other one? Antoine number 2, where is the other light bulb? I don't know. Where did you put it? Antoine number 3, where did you put that light bulb? I thought the two of you had it, you bufferfuels. And it just keeps compounding from there.
Thank you very much. Antoines.
Oops, all Antoines.
All Antoines. Oh, man.
Hi, I just want to say, I just feel, really anxious and excited to see you, during my, high school years, I fell in love with, seeing, your, later half of the Archie Sonic comic run. I will admit that, at those times when I was just reading comics, I didn't really care too much for, who was writing. It was just, this is content, this is Sonic, this is in comic book form. I liked it, and then, I've been starting to get back into reading the IDW comics series that you've been running, and I've just going on YouTube and watching people have their retrospectives. There's this one person, this YouTuber by Low Art, who has been doing a lot of Archie Sonic retrospectives, and I think it was last month he did a retrospective on Archie Mega Man, and I really liked the take on Archie Mega Man, with how the Robot Masters were a bit more serious, and that moment with say with Needleman, how he was all you're Mega Man, you have a nice cozy function, help humans, help people, whereas all we get is destroy Mega Man, kill Mega Man. And it was oh yeah, this was also written by Ian Flynn. I'm wait, what?
Ian Flynn jump scare.
Yeah. yeah. That's how it is sometimes.
Yeah, so it's just I have a few questions. The first one, a Mega Man based one. What's your favorite Robot Master?
Quake Woman.
Fair enough.
Maybe Gutsman.
Okay, yeah, that's been yes. And I did have a second question. Like, have there ever been any like considerations over making a Sonic Universe type of line for the IDW comics? I know that you guys have had like your miniseries for your Scrapnik Island, your Tangle and Whisper bad guys, but like, has there ever been any sort of thought behind having Sonic Universe, an IDW version of Sonic Universe?
I would love it if there was a sister series, but I can't really talk about what's been discussed behind closed doors.
Fair enough. Yeah. So,
That's not a knowing smile. That's just me saying I can't talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And finally, I just want to ask, like, what came into like inspiring the design of the mask? The Phantom Rider. Excuse me.
That is a question for Evan Stanley. That was all her brainchild, because Evan has been writing the series for the past 4 years, 5 years. How long has it been now? A while.
You're looking at me. I don't know. I don't.
It's early Monday,
What's
early
going
morning
on?
Sunday.
Where am
I don't know, but that was Evan's run, so that's more of an Evan question.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, no, I just want to say, like, I just love your work. I just want to like see to continue like what you do, and thank you ever so much. You
Thank
are
you
a
very
treasure
much.
to this franchise.
Appreciate it.
Hello and good morning.
Hey, good morning.
So, back around during the Archie run, there was also a Sonic X comic running that has your credits in it. What was the experience of writing an original American comic based on a dub, a 4Kids dub, that's very important, of a Japanese anime?
Sonic X was interesting because we couldn't go beyond a certain point in the series. We couldn't get into season 3. And because of the nature of the way season 2 worked, once you reached a certain episode, it was a very solid storyline with no room to really do any stuff in between. So we were kind of stuck in this narrative limbo of mid-late season 2, and we couldn't create any original characters for the most part. And we couldn't really change anything about the story or setting, so we just went wacky with it. It's like, if we are under this many restrictions, let's just be goofy. And we were, and it was so much fun. Like, not having to worry about, is the continuity going to be airtight between issues, or it's like, no, it's just here in this little weird pocket dimension within the series. They have a pool party. Vector becomes a kaiju. Why not?
It's a little bit of a proto Boom Adventures.
A little bit. Like, that was part of the origin of the Sonic X villain group, was we couldn't create any new characters. So I went through the series looking at, okay, who are all these one-off villains? And none of them were really interesting enough to make a standalone villain. So I was like, well, let's just toss them all together and call them something stupid like, I don't know, Sonic X. No, I had a ton of fun with the Sonic X comic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello. This is hypothetical, and I'm sure you've been asked this before, but if you, essentially, it would be, it's essentially, you got to write for the next Mega Man game. What would be your dream storyline to work on, and why? It doesn't have to be classic. It can be any of the storylines.
Oh, any of them. Oh.
That opens up a lot of doors.
I know.
In that case, I'm thinking X. What would we be up to? X9?
Yeah, X9 would be the next one.
And make that either the Elf Wars itself or the bridge into the Elf Wars.
Yeah.
Follow up on that cliffhanger they left with Axel. Wrap up a lot of the dangling, tenuous connections to Classic. Not in any way, definitive way to like wrap up Classic that isn't a Classic game. But, you know, what is the hologram of Dr. Light? What is Wily's connection to the virus? And just kind of tie a bow on everything and move on into the next era. Just have a nice bookend for X.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Capcom, if you're listening, I'm here.
Hey again, I was here on the first day. I'm
Yeah.
excited to be back. I was gonna ask about something else, but there is one thing I had to get out of the way first. Are we allowed to ask about the Archie run?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
for
cool. My favorite issue, like of all the stuff you've done, is Sonic Universe 50, the one where you took my favorite character, Shard, and brutally murdered him.
Die
Oh no!
on page.
Oh no!
My question is, A, why did you do that?
How dare you?
And B, was there any significance to it being like the very last issue before you legally couldn't use him again?
No. Part of it was because with robots, you can get away with so much more violence. It's so
true.
much fun. You can do bad things to them. And two, there was a lot of concern about Metal Sonic being kind of a jobber. I mean, that's kind of
He was.
still in the discourse today. But if you're going to have two of these signature robots fight, I didn't want the comic OC version to just come out on top with no challenge. Like, if you're going to fight Metal Sonic and you're not Sonic, it should be something bad. There were plans for Shard. There were lots of plans
Do you
for
wanna
the Archie
say
Sonic
those
stuff.
plans,
But
or-
that's all going to be part of Lost Hedgehog Tales. It will come out before the heat death of the universe. I promise. I promise. I will rise from my grave as a zombie to pin it with what little juices are left in my corpse if I have to. But it will come out. I promise.
I will wait for it with bated breath. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hello again.
Hi.
So, got a bit of a question for Kyle this time.
All right.
It's still Sonic related, though.
That's fine.
So, Sonic CD was kind of unique in that I can't think of any other game where the localization process resulted in an entirely new soundtrack. As a process, do you think that is really just what do you think of that concept of localizing even not just the vocals or the dialogue or things along those lines, but the outright music in order to kind of achieve the same effect rather than just porting?
So I feel like with Sonic CD specifically, it feels like kind of like with the discourse around it feels kind of like that cake meme. You know the one I'm talking about, where it's like, the person who made it is like, I have this cake here, and they're looking at the other cake, and their cake, comparing their cakes. But then the person who's ready to consume it is like, "Ooh, 2 cakes!" So, but like, oh man, in terms of like having just Sonic CD, there's a certain vibe to each soundtrack. Like, I feel like the vibes of Sonic CD lends itself well to both soundtracks, interestingly enough. And it's also, I want to say, like, the Western version of Sonic CD, the soundtrack, was done in a matter of, like, weeks, very quickly. And the fact that it still turned out as well as it did speaks to a lot of volumes of the people who worked on it. But of course, the Japanese soundtrack is also fantastic. But again, they have totally different vibes with each other, but they still work within the context of the game. And I think that's very important and also something that is really cool. So, it's like, oh, you get 2 soundtracks, 2 Sonic soundtracks for the price of 1, pretty much. So that's what I love about it.
In that case, a quick follow-up question.
Yeah.
Do you know of any other games where that happened or any other media?
Wow. It's kind of a rarity, thinking about it. Like,
It's a lot of work.
so, yeah, to do 2 whole soundtracks, because they didn't originally plan on doing a soundtrack for the Western release, a different soundtrack for the Western release of Sonic CD, but I guess someone inside Sega felt like the music didn't quite fit, and it wouldn't have vibed with American audiences or whatever. Silly decision.
Psycho Soldier.
Yeah. And so to do that, that's a pretty unique thing about that soundtrack, I think. About that game, I should say, to have 2 soundtracks like that. It's not very common to do that for localizing. So,
Thank you.
no problem.
Speaking of soundtracks, I've always thought it would be awesome if we got a Sonic music game, a rhythm game, or something close to Hi-Fi Rush, where you're manipulating Sonic to the beat of the music, but maybe not actually a rhythm game. Something like that. It would be awesome. Some collection, because Sonic's got some of the best music in the industry.
Yeah.
But my question for you, that's what I would do with the game. What would you guys do if you could direct your own Sonic game?
Does it have to be Sonic specifically, or can we go spin-off?
Spin to your heart's content.
Okay, so I think I've got a decent enough idea for a Shadow the Hedgehog 2 that is basically Sin and Punishment. Run and gun. We don't have any realistic weapons, but we do have Wispons now.
And Chaos Spear.
And Chaos Spear. Have a bit of platforming in there, and then instead of the fully, I am evil, I am an angel, just decide which mission are you going to prioritize. Are you going to rescue those that are in peril, or are you going to go after the immediate threat? So you still have a little bit of that branching pathway that unlocks different levels. And it just goes fast. It's very arcadey. It's not too story heavy, and you just get to be Shadow blowing up stuff. And I think that would appeal to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Also, where is my Tails shmup?
Yeah. Where is that?
Different upgradable tornadoes blowing up stuff.
If it were in the style of like Star Fox or something, or
Yeah.
I'd play the hell, I'd play the heck out of that. What's that? Exactly. Yeah.
What would you do?
Oh man, I really liked your ideas of a rhythm game. I would love to do something like that. I would also really love to just see a Blaze game.
Yes.
Just like some sort of some sort of fast-paced action game. Like I'm seeing like I'm getting like Bayonetta vibes from it. Like just something like that. Just something that's like super fast, super snappy, just and then fire everywhere, just lighting everything up, and just having that action-packed moment with her would be amazing.
Then let's all will our ideas into the universe. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you. Welcome back.
Hello. Got a question, IDW, more recent stuff. So, we know that Starline took Surge and Kit, gave them the mental programming with the hypnosis glove. But he was under a time crunch. Just let's say, hypothetically, he gave them the programming, gave them all the combat stuff, but he got the personality swapped. It didn't have a lot of time to get it fixed. So, Surge is the helpful supporter, a bit more shy, and Kit is really aggressive. And he's just gotta work with what he's got. How's it go?
The thing is, Kit isn't the most outspoken individual, so basically you just have someone who is a more sinister, more direct version of Chaos. You have this tiny little murder puppy who has multiple tentacles that can do terrible, terrible things to you. And then you have his cheerleader by the side going, "Do you want to electrocute the water boss?" And now looking at the size discrepancy, I'm getting kind of Pinky in the Brain vibes.
Yes.
Serge, are you pondering what I'm pondering? I think so, Brain, but where am I going to find rubber pets my size?
Good.
No, I ruined the idea. I'm sorry.
I do like it. Cheerleader Surge. Go team. Drown them all.
Yes.
Zap.
I do like that idea, yeah. Thank you. Uh-oh.
What's that for?
I don't know.
I have two questions. My first one, if you had to choose one, Sabrina Carpenter, Chappell Roan, or Billie Eilish? There is a right answer.
Chappell Roan. Yeah, I'm going to go Chappell Roan.
And then my second question is actually a very important request.
Go ahead.
Ian, can we sing Happy Birthday to Kyle?
I think we can. Can you guys join me?
Okay.
And a 1, and a 2, and a 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy Happy birthday, dear Kyle. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Yes, it is my birthday, so that makes I think that makes this MAGFest extra special.
Aw.
Kansas was trying to do something here at the last second, but
internet in here is spotty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
The cake. The birth cake.
So it's been well documented, the many references to past Sonic quotes in the games you've written for. How do you feel about bringing in some iconic quotes from the games before you wrote them? A common classic being "Long time no see." I'm out of here. Let's see. There's "Today's not my day." Any others? Sorry, I'm on the spot, so my brain's blanking.
I get the idea. There's a number of them, and
too easy, no sweat, piece of cake.
you did play Sonic and Shadow Generations, yeah?
Yes, I did.
That whole Sonic and Shadow confrontation is a giant love letter to some of the most iconic quotes, well before my time.
Very much.
Yeah.
And in general, if it will work, if it is a fun reference that doesn't necessarily distract from the moment, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
There's a question for either of you. Duke Nukem versus the Black Arms. Who comes out on top and how much collateral damage is there?
All of the collateral damage. Literally all of it. And of course, Duke always comes out on top, baby.
All right. He's here to kick ass and chew bubblegum. It is all out of bubblegum. Froggy, where are you?
That's what he's looking for. There we go. Now we got the plot of a Duke Nukem X Sonic crossover. Perfect. Thank you.
So, as an author, I assume you have a tendency to get attached to the characters you write. Yes. So, what has been essentially your most painful moment as an author in that regard, where you were like, I can't believe I'm doing this to my babies?
General rule of thumb, if I'm making myself misty-eyed, I figure I'm doing something right. And I distinctly remember, I forget which show it was exactly, but we were just getting into year one of IDW Sonic, but I already had the idea for the Metal Virus Saga. And I'm cold pitching it to the editors over dinner, and I get to the part with Tangle. And I'm having trouble getting through it. And I look around, and everyone else at the table, who's not even related to this project, has stopped their conversation, and they're listening. And I'm like, got it.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
But, see, I had that particular scene in my mind for a long time, so by the time I got to the script, it's like, all right, I know what I'm doing here. What's some fresh evil I can do?
Oh, no.
And that's where the cream scene came from.
No.
I'm so sorry. You're welcome.
Ian Flynn, you horrible monster. You should feel shamed.
I do, but it's also joy. It's a sick pleasure. Hurt me more, Snake. Anyway, now I do enjoy all these characters a lot, and I figure if it's impacting me emotionally, it should resonate with at least some of the readers as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I remember Matt Herms was mad for me for the cream scene as well.
All right. Last question, the one I said I was going to ask last time.
Okay.
So it's known that you really like Being the Dynamite. He was your addition, the very first Archie issue you worked on. You got him into the classic issues of IDW. This is kind of a two-part, but you can ignore the second one for a long time. First off, given that there's like basically no lore on Bean and Bark from Sonic the Fighters, how did you decide they'd be criminals? Was it just because that's the only way that they'd affiliate with Fang or whatever? And if you had to add them into the games, but you couldn't use the criminal bandit team-up thing that they do in the comics, how would you do it in a more canon compliant way?
There were little bits and pieces to pull from over the years. And the reason why I made them low-tier villains in the Archie run was because we didn't have a ton of high-level, low-tier villains, if that makes any sense. Like, you had Sleuth, you had Drago, and you had, like, the Fearsome Foursome, but they really weren't doing a lot. But being Embark, by virtue of being fighting characters, you automatically could hold their ground with Sonic, which made them more interesting in the way that they could have a conflict. And there were so many heroic characters already, it felt like it was adding more to that pile. So to me, it made sense to make them antagonistic just to vary things up a little bit.
You could just throw bounty hunters wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As for canonicity, that seems to have stuck. Because you see them show up in Sonic Mania. You've seen how they've shown up in Seasons of Chaos and the other classic IDW books. So that's kind of them now.
Just kind of got your idea for your little guy in.
Now, there is a specification that Bark is not necessarily a bad guy. He just kind of hangs out with bad people. And we don't quite know why yet. But that would be fascinating to follow up on.
Please pitch a Bean and Bark backstory issue.
Sonic the Fighters too, man. Why not?
Yeah, let's go.
Or that.
Let's go. We
Please
need
pitch that. All right, thank you.
We need IDW champions, Ian. We need it. We need a tournament arc.
Perfect idea.
We need Sonic Smash Brothers. We need all the
yeah,
characters.
yeah. We really do. You know what? That's a good point. That really should have been our answer to the game concept. We should.
I still have like 2 or 3 more in my back pocket. Otherwise, this whole show is Ian pitches Sonic games, and we can't do that.
Yeah, like a Sonic fighting game. Why the heck hasn't that
I've
happened?
been playing
Where is
Fighters
it?
in the arcade like all weekend. It's great. Please do another. It'll be so funny.
Yes.
All right, thank you. You're
Thank you.
wonderful.
All right, so I got 2 complex questions and then I have to go.
Okay.
So the first one, to piggyback on a previous one, if Professor Starlight had more time, would he have made a Knuckles and Amy clone and kind of rounded out the 4 elements thing? And for the other 2, what animals would they be?
No, because of his own egotism. Knuckles and Amy don't even register in his mind in terms of the grander metascope. He's so far up his own butt with this is that he sees it as a Sonic and Eggman thing, and Tails is the one that supports Sonic, and everyone else is just the extended cast. Who even cares about them?
Okay, so if he even had a minute shred to think about, though.
Right. What would we do? That is so hard because Starlight, by his creation, is already the Knuckles analog. He's based off a Knuckles sprite glitch. He is a monotreme as well. And where Knuckles is cunning but a little naive, Starline is Machiavellian but kind of misses the forest for the trees. Starline already is the Knuckles of that trio, to be frank. So who would the Amy be? I don't know. And it's tempting to throw one in there because evil doppelgangers are always fun.
Yeah.
But I personally don't want to overplay the meme.
Right.
Like Surge, Kit, and Starline were all specifically based off of famous glitch characters from the classic games. There was a unifying thought behind all of them. And in the very, very early drafts, they all showed up in Metal Virus, which, good God, why did I thought that was a good idea? So a Amy, I don't know, maybe there's maybe there's an Amy visual glitch out there, but there was that one. Okay, so this isn't exactly what you're asking, but did you read the Archie series?
I had to do bits and pieces. It was hard to like find it back home.
So in the Archie series, there was an entire parallel universe of evil versions of the
Okay, I know what you're talking about, and I remember that crazy like Amy.
I was about to suggest that.
Yeah. Rosie the Rascal was based off of the arcade cabinet's weird palette glitch with her design. So in spirit, that's where that exists.
Okay, and then the second question is, if you had to add new characters, would you try using animals with like interesting quirks? So a perfect example is like a villain gang made entirely of Humboldt squids. So let me explain, because Humboldt squids are the size of toddlers. They're usually in groups of 1,000. They have really intricate, like, flickers with their skin. And they're one of the few ocean animals that will actively hunt humans if they're in the ocean. And they're called red devils.
For good reason. It is a consideration. I mean, platypuses, platypodes. Starlines.
One of those.
Are they're very interesting animals in their own right. The mimic octopus, which we already referenced with Mimic himself, it's a question of can they fit the kind of Sonic standard body shape? Does it make enough sense that they can exist in this world? If I can find the opportunity, I'd love an excuse for a muntjac. The Asian barking deer, if you don't know, look it up. They have tusks. They're fascinating little critters.
If not that, maned wolves.
Yeah. Oh my God, maned wolves look so cool.
Yeah.
But
Awesome.
it's also a question of what is this character going to bring to the story? I don't want to add the maned wolf or the muntjac or the Humboldt squid or whatever just to tick off a box and say, there's the animal. Like,
Right.
What does it say about that character? What does that character bring to the story? How do they interact with the cast? It's one of the considerations.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. We've got about 15 minutes left, so just a heads up.
Yeah, minding the deep lore for this one, I know you're a fan of that. Tails Adventure specifically. Something that's kind of occurred is that Tails has become more of the sort of gadgeteer sort of type of character over the years. And as far as I'm aware, Tails Adventure is probably kind of the first time that was ever shown, because at that time he was mostly just the kid who stuck around. How do you think that, because that game was not exactly a bestseller as far as I'm aware.
Which is a crime.
Certainly. How do you think that game has had kind of such an outsized impact on Tails' character? Do you think it's just kind of convergent evolution more than anything?
I honestly can't say. That would require a insider knowledge of how the brand's been managed both in Japan and America since then, and that was way before my time. I don't even know if all that staff is still there, but it is certain for the current generation of folks who are here that are looking back and trying to take everything into consideration. That's one part of it, but that's kind of new, so I honestly don't know.
I mean, Tails is, he's always kind of shown a technical aptitude. Like, if you look back at the ending of Sonic 2, like, he's the one who fits the rocket onto the tornado to go rescue Sonic as he's falling out of the Death Egg. So he was always kind of known, like, what to do. And I feel like that was probably one of the points where they kind of decided to make him sort of a smart technical guy. It was like, that's what his character is, and I think that even shows early on, as early as his first appearance. So,
and you remind me, the Sonic OAV, he's got like a whole tech table with kind of like a holographic display where he's building up the doohickey to mess with Metal Sonic.
Yeah,
so
that's right. Yeah.
I guess it was always coded in his
It's
DNA.
always kind of there. It's really always.
It's always been there.
It's always been there. Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't necessarily realize that. Like, they don't think about that too much. Like Sonic 2 even was really just you see a little bit of that technical aptitude with him. So, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I hope to get through this one really quickly. So the Professor Gerald's journal specifically, and some other localization stuff about Shadow Generation. So Mephiles doesn't name drop himself in the English script, but he does get it in the Japanese script. Was that just something that was provided by Sonic Team, or was that just something they added after you wrote this part of it?
Honestly, it's been so long since I worked on that, I don't remember specifically.
Okay, cool. We got timelines. Okay, and then I'm guessing that also applies to the Gerald's journal, like some stuff that was added in afterwards, like
Added in afterwards.
In the Japanese localization, after like Shadow is created, Gerald has this line in the journal where it says, "I'm going to set my password to Maria," and that ties into Dark Story.
Just little details that they added after the fact.
Gotcha. And lastly, Professor Tori. Was that T, when you wrote that T, was that always meant to be Professor Tori, or was that also another thing? Okay.
I wonder. It's such a mystery.
All right. And I hope we get to know more about this mysterious pink-haired lady. You've been teasing her for like 3 years now.
Hashtag knowing smile.
Hello, Kyle. Hello, Ian.
Hello.
Hi. So, as someone who's dealt with, who used to study writing and whatnot, one method that I like follow vehemently is typically you want to write your endings first and then write everything leading up to that point. Do you guys follow that kind of like writing method, or do you figure out a different way to kind of structure your stories?
Really depends on what the story is. Some stories have definitely come about that way. It's like, okay, this is the point we're going to reach. How do we get there? Others are, I know where things are going to begin because I have that impetus, and the question is, okay, what happens because of that? And I explore where that goes until I reach a conclusion. And sometimes it's just, oh, this would be a cool moment in time. How do we even get there, and what is the result of that? So that is not the way to do it, but it's a way to do it.
Okay. And then please, can you help establish the Blaze lore? Is she from a different universe or a different timeline? Thank you.
Okay, so the Sonic X discussion earlier just made me remember the El Gran Gordo.
Yep.
Plotline. First of all, that is an all-timer. Like the way it just becomes a cheesy sports movie by the end of it, even though like everybody involved should know better. Thank you so much. Anyway, for the actual question, so we have classic Sonic and modern Sonic. Can we have Rococo Sonic? You know, the Rococo era of art.
I don't know. I have no idea how that works out rights-wise, or even what the licensing wants to do with it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Would love to see it though.
How do you pronounce the name of Scourge's world?
Mobius.
It's Moebius.
No, it's spelled Mobius. Just like no. See, one is M-O-B-I-S, Mobius. The other one is M-O-E-B-I-S. So Mobius.
Yeah, but also
You're not hearing the difference?
No, I can't.
I will say it. I'll say it a little slower. Mobius versus Mobius.
Moebius.
Why are you putting an E in there?
Because there's an E in there.
Yes, but it makes the O sound.
But it's also, Moe, because
We're
funny.
keeping this lovely.
Go away. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, take your time.
This is the BumbleKast.
Just want to say I've been also patiently waiting for Lost Hedgehog Chronicles. So happy to hear that that's still happening.
It will happen. It will happen. I will promise. I promise.
Thank you. I would love to hear what other ideas for games you have. Lightning round.
Okay. Did anybody here play either the Bat and Kaitos games? All right.
Okay.
RPG series where the battle mechanics were based around playing cards. I preferred Bat and Kaitos Origins, where you had your deck along the bottom of the screen and you were trying to set up the sequence of cards so that if you could get them in ascending or descending order, you would have a better odds of having more cards that fit your streak. If you got a streak, you got bonuses. You had face cards that gave you extra attack or health or whatever. So an RPG starring Amy Rose using the fortune cards in that battle system.
Yes.
And yet Sonic Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Just all of the characters, classic modern.
Oh, that would be hilarious. Yeah, that would be awesome. Yes.
And just a Chow game. Give me my mobile Chow game.
Yeah, where the heck is it? Where the heck is that? I'm going to steal an idea from you, Ian.
Okay.
Because I agree with you. I would love to see this. A Knuckles Metroidvania. Yeah, Knuckles Metroidvania. Maybe have Rouge as also a secondary character in that, or another playable character in that too.
Yep.
That would be fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. Which
Yeah.
of those cars would you daily drive?
I don't know which one you're going to give to me.
Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transforms specifically?
Yes.
Oh, you know me. The Hornet from Daytona, USA. Ages. By far, yes, absolutely. I mean, it turns into a freaking Dreamcast controller boat. I'm so there for that. And then it turns into an F-14 Tomcat for flying. Oh, I am so down for all three of those. Yes. Thank you.
I mean, that makes the most sense, yes. But I got to go with Vices. I got to give this guy Arcadia Love purely out of blind loyalty. Also, if I get the special, I can shoot everybody off the road with the cannons.
Yeah.
You want to see Road Rage? I'll give you Road Rage.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we are down to the last 4 minutes. I'm going to kind of soft wrap it up here, saying that we have some Rock Island stuff right outside if you want to grab it while we wrap up. It will be open till I believe 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
There's also the BumbleKast merch table, which has a ton of fantastic stickers by our artists Noni and Nova. There's also a Drogoon poster by Adam Bryce Thomas, and Adam Bryce Thomas is down in the merch hall too. So head on down there to grab a few things. And
where's the BumbleKast table?
That is the BumbleKast table. Okay. It's in the merch hall. It's like if you go in the front doors, it's kind of like the center row on the left, about midway down.
Yeah.
Section P1. So P1. So go down the middle. When it gets to water cooler, on the right.
And
there's a big green flag on there. It says BumbleKast. You can't miss it. Looks like there's some.
And what else do we have to cover? Because it's the end of MAGFest.
Yeah. We're just about done.
Okay. How was your MAGFest, Kyle?
Exhausting, but and overwhelming, but in a good way all the way around. I've had such a fantastic time here, getting to meet new friends and hang out with old ones. It's been just fantastic, and I feel like I'm among my people here, really. So yeah, in terms of video game music and stuff, this is my as a video game music nerd, this is, to use a term that is a bit overused, I think, but still I think is applicable. MAGFest is kind of like a mecca for video game music. So just be here as part of that, and also be invited as a guest. That's really cool.
He said everything I could say but better. This is my first MAGFest. It's been great. The folks here have been fantastic. It's got just a great vibe. As busy as it is, it still feels kind of chill.
Yeah.
It's constantly moving, but everybody's just happy to be here and happy to be around each other. And it just feels like a very open and welcoming space. And that's really nice. That kind of helps manage everything. And plus, we got to meet all the Bumble crew in person for the first time, except for JR. But shout out to you, buddy. You do a lot of hard work. Appreciate you, buddy. And they're just all amazing people. We are extremely lucky to be blessed with their generosity. And we're going to stay calm on mic. Anyway, they're very good people. And you should support them in every way you can. And you guys too, out here on Sunday, giving us the best send-off you possibly could on a MAGFest.
Yes.
So, thank you for joining us for BumbleKast Live. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
Take care, everybody.